Imagine losing everything and still lifting your voice to say, "Thank you, Lord." This is not a story of easy endings. It is a journey through the inner desert where the silence is heavy and the heart learns a language higher than pain: gratitude. In 5 seconds, I'll ask you a question. How far does your gratitude go when life doesn't turn out the way you planned? Today, we won't talk about giving thanks when everything looks perfect, but about igniting faith when night falls. Ready? Think about this. There are days when the mind screams and the soul gets tired. Yet someone in a room like yours decides to close their eyes and say, "Lord, thank you for staying," even though the problem is still there. Madness? Faith? What if gratitude were the key that opens a door you don't see yet? If nothing changes on the outside today, could something change inside with a single thank you? Gratitude is not spiritual makeup, it is surrender. It does not deny the pain, it hands it over. It does not erase the storm, it goes through it, holding God's hand. When you say thank you in the midst of chaos, you do something scandalous. You declare that you do not depend on control, but on a presence. And that presence, according to the promise, does not sleep. While you breathe deeply, He works in the invisible. So tell me, what if giving thanks were your most powerful way to fight? Movie shot, house in semi-darkness, heartbeats marking the rhythm, the camera moves in on your tired face. And in a whisper, you break the script of fear, "Thank you." Not because everything is fine, but because you are not alone. Can you feel that plot twist? What if rest begins with the word you use least when your mind is at war? What would happen if tonight your bed became an altar? Giving thanks is not passivity. It is active trust. It is looking at what you don't understand and choosing to believe that God is still faithful. It is placing your hand on your chest and saying, "I am at peace because you are with me." Maybe today you carry scars, hard decisions, long waits. You don't have to pretend. Gratitude does not demand perfection. It asks for sincerity. Do you dare to give thanks for what you don't see yet? Here is the invitation. Stay with me until the end. I don't promise you formulas. I offer you a route. Breathe, remember, surrender, and give thanks. We will walk toward a peace that does not depend on circumstances, but on the one who holds your night. Before we begin, write in your heart or in the comments 4 words. Thank you for being here, God. And now tell me, if God asked you today to take a step into the unknown with a thank you on your lips, would you take it? Let's not talk about a lukewarm thank you that appears only when everything turns out perfect. Let's talk about the gratitude that heaven recognizes as a key, the one you choose when the day has left you exhausted, when the silence of the night amplifies your thoughts, and yet you whisper, "Thank you, Lord." Giving thanks is not decorating the end of the day. It is turning the night into an altar. Picture the scene: low lights, the room in calm, the mind wanting to review pending tasks. Then you do something different. You place your hand on your chest and say, "Thank you for watching over me. Thank you because while I rest, you work." You are not denying the problem, you are recognizing a presence. Gratitude does not erase battles, but it changes the atmosphere. Anxiety loses strength, the heart slows its pace, and the room fills with a peace that does not depend on the external. Do you notice how the air enters differently when you say thank you? Sometimes we think that giving thanks is a reaction to a result, but the gratitude that opens doors goes first. It is the key before the hallway, the light switched on before seeing the exit. When you say thank you in the midst of the silence, you acknowledge that God is already at work, even if you don't see it. That deactivates the urgency to control, loosens perfectionism, heals self-demand. Gratitude is surrender, and surrender is rest. That is why, even without having all the answers, gratitude can be your last word of the day. Giving thanks before sleeping is dropping the invisible backpack and saying, I don't understand everything, but I trust. It is a simple covenant that seals the night. I am in your hands, God. That act makes room for the new, because when you let go, God fills. When you empty yourself, He renews you. Gratitude orders what the day disordered and transforms the final sigh into prayer. If today it's hard for you, start small. Lord, thank you for this breath, for this roof, for this bed, for your presence. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, say thank you. While you do, remember the essential of the foundation. Rest is a gift. It is not bought, it is received, and gratitude opens the hands to receive. I propose something practical. Write in the comments, thank you, Lord, for your peace tonight. Not as a routine, but as a declaration. You will be saying, I do not depend on what I feel. I depend on your promise. Make gratitude your last word and see how the presence fills the depths, even when you don't feel it. Because in the end, giving thanks is choosing who governs your thoughts, fear or God. Could your gratitude be the key to a miracle? In the silence of the desert, when the sun burned by day and the cold bit by night, the people of Israel walked with tired feet and short memory. Yes, short. Because just weeks earlier they had seen the sea open into two walls of water. They had crossed on dry land, while the enemy army drowned behind them. They had tasted manna fallen from heaven and water springing from a rock. And yet, every time scarcity came, they complained as if they had never seen God's hand. It seems incredible, doesn't it? But wait, it is not so different from us today. How many times do we forget what He has already done in our own story? Memory is a spiritual weapon. Remembering what God has already done is like turning on a lamp in the midst of the darkest night. When anxiety whispers that all is lost, memory answers, no, He already delivered me once, and He can do it again. Think of David before Goliath. He did not arm himself with courage because he was strong, but because he remembered the lion and the bear that God allowed him to defeat in the past. Gratitude is born there in memory. It is not just saying thank you, it is bringing into the present God's footprints on your path and letting those footprints mark your trust for what is coming. What would happen if instead of reviewing your failures, you reviewed your victories with God? Pause right now. Think of a single situation in which you knew there was no way out, but an unexpected answer appeared. Maybe it was a phone call, a diagnosis that changed, a job that came when you least expected it, or simply the strength to get up one more day when you thought you couldn't. That is your personal Red Sea, your own manna, your rock in the desert. If you remember it, gratitude springs up on its own because you understand it was not coincidence. It was God's hand. And if He did it before, why wouldn't He do it again? The danger lies in forgetting. When you forget, you become a hostage of the present. When you remember, you become an heir of hope. The enemy wants your memory to be filled with defeats, but the Spirit invites you to make memory of grace. Each remembrance of what God has already done is a brick in the wall of trust that protects your mind from despair. Do you notice how the atmosphere changes when you stop asking why and start saying thank you because you have already been here with me? It's almost like breathing more deeply, as if the heart deflated from unnecessary burdens. So, before you sleep today, instead of reviewing the day's mistakes, remember a miracle from yesterday. Write it down on a piece of paper, tell it in a message, declare it out loud. Make it a habit, because gratitude is not improvised. It is trained. And the more you train your memory for the eternal, the less power temporary worries have. Perhaps that is the true key to peace, remembering what God has already done in order to give thanks for what you do not see yet. What personal story reminds you that God never fails?